Heard he got it in the range, nigga pain, cock running his brain over some things. Took watching his chain. Country boys off the hook down there in Richmond, Maine. In the black 740, I sat, my hat turned back. Damn, baby, Nelly singing my best flinging. What? I'm waiting on this nigga wise, be loose for two.
I ain't gonna lie, I had to read all that shit. Excuse me. Long story short, Yuriorkis Gamboa, 23-1, 23-1. His lone defeat by knockout to Terence Crawford, 27-0 with 17 knockouts. No, excuse me, 24-0 with 17 knockouts. The WBO 135-pound lightweight champion of the world. Many thought that Yuriorkis Gamboa was going to move back down in weight. Many thought that 135-pound division was a little too heavy for him. Remember, his promoter, 50 Cent, SMS Promotions, was basically talking him out there for Mayweather fights at 147 or Pacquiao fights at 147. So let me just say he's going to be taking on a fighter by the name of Joel Montes De Oca. He's 17-3. He's been knocked out once with 10 KOs. He's a Mexican fighter, and you may think, like, I don't know who this guy is or what's his name, what. Let me say this. This is one of those fights, after watching some of these De Oca fights, and they're on YouTube. I'm going to tell you how to spell his name. It's Joelmontes, Joel Montes, and then DE, and then OCA. So just type that in, you'll be able to see his fights. Of course, you got to know Spanish. I know a little bit of Spanish. I can understand it, but I can't speak it. So long story short, you really got to be on some like, all right, I'm going to really sit back and watch and like not understand the commentary, but watch the sweet science. He's a brawler. And if you know one thing about Yuriorkis Gamboa, he is not the traditional, highly accredited and acclaimed Cuba School of Boxing boxer. He's like the football player or the athlete of this Cuban School of Boxing, as far as he gets that extra push from the teachers, and from the administration because he's an athlete. So what I'm saying is, you got guys like Erislandy Lara and Guillermo Rigondeaux who don't do overtime. See, because the Cuban School of Boxers, they are trained to do things one way. So to put them into an analogy, a Cuban School boxer reminds me of a factory worker, someone who has to do the same shit every day. But you get some factory workers that need that repetition, that routine, and they're cool with it. They don't give a fuck if you think their job is good or not. Cuban School of Boxers, they don't go above and beyond. A guy like Rigondeaux, you don't ask him to do no. He worked there for 40 years and will not do not 1 minute of overtime. And if you try to if you even try to like mess with him and say, listen, can you please do this? He gonna go to HR and say you was harassing him. So long story short, I know it was a crazy now, but long story short, you got a guy like Yuriorkis Gamboa, who he has the boxing skills. Very good, one of the best amateurs of all time. Yes, one of the best. Now, I didn't say the best. But very good, but he has that flaw to where, as in, he wants to be bigger than the Cuban School of Boxing. He has the skills, but he goes outside of it, then becomes this brawler, and then he gets knocked down by almost every fighter he's faced in the last, since 2011, basically. So what I'm going to say is this. He, right now, is going to be fighting 2 times for this year, 2014. He fought on Terence Crawford in June, and now he's fighting again on, November the 15th, 2014, in Mexico, Cancun, against Joel Montes De Oca. 17-3. He's been knocked out once with 10 KOs. So I'm T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. I'm a boxing reporter, and I cover every single major fight live of Real Combat Media. And we're going to talk about some boxing. Yuriorkis Gamboa got his ass beat by Terence Crawford. There's no better way to put it. I'm not going to say he got beat up and he lost the fight. He got his ass beat. Why? Because he's one of those fighters that if he gets knocked down once, he gets up and he's almost like a dog. You'll play with the dog, but then you'll notice your dog start playing too rough. So long story short, he gets up, he's still extra hyper and he's got all that energy. He never calms himself down. Then going up against a boxer that he's not together, I'm gonna knock his ass down again. Yuriorkis Gamboa is not the type of fighter that's going to hold you. Yuriorkis Gamboa is not the type of fighter that's going to run, and you can say you can say that's part of the reason why he is good, but at the same time, it's a dangerous formula. The reason why I say this Joel Montes De Oca fight is going to be good is because watching the clips with this guy's one of those guys that goes out there and he just throws every possible punch he can. When I say this guy looks like the ultimate Mexican fighter, I'm not saying ultimate as far as good. I'm saying ultimate as far as like what people expect from Mexican fighters, as far as going out there and just throwing down, and just throwing his health out the window. So a guy like Yuriorkis Gamboa has got to shine on, like, as far as boxing is concerned, because he's got to show us that he can still box. Now it's going to be on November the 15th. I don't know if HBO is going to pick it up, but I'm thinking it's going to. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure 50 Cent, his promoter, is going to try to get it on some type of American accessible station. So a guy like me, I've been watching a lot of beIN Sports. That's on Xfinity. It's BIEN. And basically I watched the Johnny Gonzalez. What was it? Johnny Gonzalez Yuriorkis fight. So that's a channel I just found out of recently. So what I'm saying is, I guess I'm pleading, because there's really no big boxing on that weekend. So I really would like to see Yuriorkis Gamboa on American television if possible, even if I gotta watch it in Spanish. That'll be cool. That's all I'm asking. But I'm confident in 50 Cent, and I'm sure he wants his fighters to be on American television. So I'm sure he's got some type of television deal, whether it's Box Azteca or, Telemundo or something. So you have to give 50 Cent some credit. People have been saying he hasn't been getting his fighters fights, and the James Kirkland thing, and then Billy Dibb getting beat up. Then Andre Durrell leaving. Yuriorkis Gamboa getting knocked out. But you have to say he did do Yuriorkis Gamboa something good, because he's fighting twice this year in less than 6 months. Gamboa hasn't fought twice since 2011. Remember, we're going on 2015. So what's his plans for 2015? Maybe, I guess, when Terence Crawford moves up, go back after that WBO, which seems smart to me. But it all depends on how he looks between this fight and then. And maybe he can fight a Raymundo Beltran, for that fight. For that belt. And that would be a good fight, in a fight that maybe he can get knocked around again. But remember, Beltran is not the boxer that Terence Crawford is. So I would give Gamboa the edge over Beltran, but it's all about if he gets there or not, and especially if 50 Cent can keep him active. Now, like I said, 50 Cent has already done him justice by keeping him in 2 fights this year, and somebody of his caliber should be fighting 2 fights a year. I don't care who you fight, as long as you're staying active. So it's depending on how 2015 is going to look. It'd be good to see him back in March of 2015. Maybe February. And then go after Beltran. Or whoever has that belt. Or, I'm not saying Beltran is going to beat Crawford. Let me just get that out of the way. I'm saying Terence Crawford wants to move up. That fight was supposed to be his last fight, but then he's going to give Beltran his deserved, needed rematch after the Ricky Burns situation. I'm not going to get into details with that. But maybe he can get Beltran, because if Beltran still loses to Crawford, they're probably going to give Beltran another shot, at the vacated belt. I don't know. But I think Gamboa has a shot to get a belt, the WBO belt, but it all depends on, how active he stays in between then. Because, guys like him, we might not hear a fight in November, but we might not see him again until next November. Even though he is fighting 2 times this year, and that's what's wrong with boxing sometimes. Boxers just don't know that fans want to see you active. Won or lost, fans want to see you active, because you got to stay fresh in people's minds. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.